Welcome to the Daily Podcast. My name is Michelle Sinclair, and this is the Real Healing Institute show. I'm a divine healer and spiritual teacher, and I teach based on the Christ letters, which my study of that and my spiritual practice led to enlightenment several years ago. So this is why I preach about it, because it's the truth. It's the universal truth. So I'm going to start by reading to you from the Christ letters. This is page 435. So it's not from an actual letter. It's an article at the end. So each time you can retain love in your heart in the face of opposition, you have built a little oasis of divine love in your environment. You will perceive that as more and more people on earth strive to respond to darkness in this way, the darkness itself will be affected. It cannot be otherwise. And so will the ranks of those striving to create heaven on earth begin to increase and swell, and eventually the voices of the divine will begin to enlighten the responses of those who are still unenlightened. And what will be happening on earth while individuals are creating their own little oasis of divine love on earth? These oases will manifest as long-desired benefits in human society. They will enable human beings to rectify the mistakes made in the past since the last war. Public services will begin to improve. Humanity will begin to take on board new ethics governing their behavior, which will ensure that they treat their fellow men with loving consideration and compassion. As this happens, prosperity will begin to return. Poverty will abate. Health will become ever more flourishing, arising from the new loving responses in people's hearts and minds. There will be benefits which at this moment you cannot even imagine, because they will accrue from a high spiritual consciousness beyond your conception at this present moment. This is how you will create the kingdom of heaven on earth. So each time that you retain love in your heart in the face of opposition, you have built a little oasis of divine love in your environment. So this is talking about mastery. But in order to get to this point where you even want to do this, you need to cleanse, heal, mentally cleanse away things from the mind, things from the past that have led to your current suffering. Well, let me give you an example. So let's say that you didn't have perfect parents. And so there is some kind of resentment or disappointment, or there was some expectation that was not met. And so it leaves you feeling a certain way. When you hold that feeling of, this wasn't what I wanted, within you, it carries a very specific vibration, and you are choosing to give in to the opposition. Whereas if you could view that thing with love in your heart, you will have then built a little oasis of divine love in your environment. So my example, you didn't have perfect parents. Well, what did that push you to do? Did that push you in your life now to be a better parent? What did that teach you? What did you learn from? Maybe your parents didn't pay any attention to you, and so you had to really be on your own. Well, what did that teach you? Did it teach you to strive and be really independent and provide for yourself, and you've now provided and created a good life for yourself? Everything is perspective, and whenever we shift our perspective from something that is negative to something of, I see the lesson and I see the learning that's in this, it changes the vibration and the frequency that we are then emitting, and we are then retaining love in our hearts and creating that divine oasis. And because this is what leads to the kingdom of heaven on earth, this is what we want to do. Now, you might have noticed in the last little while that it seems as though things are picking up, and that you're seeing, more content that's in alignment with the way that you believe. You might even see, I don't know, 15, 20 videos in a day that's kind of saying the same type of thing, things that you already believe, things that you're in alignment with, or things that you're opening yourself up to. Now this is happening, as it says here, that eventually the voices of the divine will begin to enlighten the responses of those who are still unenlightened. This is what we're seeing as more content is coming out, and it is coming out from places of, what? Well, this is interesting that this person is talking about this. It's because there's unity. We are all one organism. And because we're all one, let's say that your, hand has something going on with it, well, it's going to affect the rest of the body. It's going to affect the rest of the body. Why? Because let's say that something's really going on with your hand and it needs to be healed. Well, things are going to be pulled away from the other parts of the body and they're going to go to your hand so that healing can occur there, but it's still affecting the whole entire body. Now, this is because your hand, which is part of your body, has sent out a signal saying, help me, I need help, and the body responds. This is how the collective works. So when there was a part of the collective saying, help me, the rest of the collective is like, all right, we're going to help you. And help is sent. Now, this can be seen as social media content, right? You need help. You're going through something, and all of a sudden these things start popping up, and we say, oh, it's the algorithm. But it's really, everything is the spirit. So it's because you needed something from that, and you called out for it, subconsciously or consciously, and so it's presented to you. But each time that you can choose to keep that love in your heart when it's the last thing that you want to do, but when you can choose to do that, you are mastering yourself. You are setting yourself up for this massive, massive success. Now, what creates the shift? Well, what creates enlightenment is cleansing everything from your mind that is not in divine alignment. So it's like you're walking around. It's like you have a mirror, and that mirror is completely covered in dust, and you're like, oh, this is very recognizable. This is a mirror, obviously. But that mirror is your soul. And so you can tell, oh yeah, clearly your soul's there, but it's just covered with dust, and so you're not seeing it very clearly. And so someday somebody comes and they change your perspective about something, and it's like, oh, they blew on that mirror and cleared some dust away, and you're like, oh, I see. But it's still not clean yet. And then another day somebody came and they blew some more of the dust off of it, and it's like, oh, I see. And so these layers of dust, there are things like jealousy. There are things like complaining. There are things like resentment, anger, mistrust, doubt, fear. And every time that you cleanse them away, every time you blow some of that dust off of that mirror, and pretty soon, once you have cleansed away every single thing, there's no longer any dust that is left. And all you are exposed to is the true essence of your soul, which is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. In that moment that all of that dust has been cleared away, that's the moment that you get into perfect divine alignment. And then when that happens, are you going to go and you're going to take some of that dust and you're going to be like, no, this doesn't feel right, and you're going to dump some of that dust back on your mirror? Not in a million freaking years. You're not going to do that. No. You're going to keep a cloth and some freaking Windex there, and you're going to make sure, nope, I'm keeping this shiny. And so if some old dust did want to come and land on your mirror there in the future, you're going to be like, no, I got the tools for this. I'm just going to take my rag and I'm going to wash that away. And what I'm talking about here is your mind, your thoughts, the things that you think about all the time, the thought loops that you get yourself into, those negative responses that you have, those negative things that you think throughout a day. That's all the dust covering your mirror, and it's harming you and it's hurting you. And every single little bit of it has come from your ego, not from your soul. Your soul's just sitting there pristine, just waiting for you to clear away all the dust. Just waiting. And the thing about that mirror is it doesn't change, does it? No, the mirror is still just the mirror. Just because it's covered in dust, it's still the mirror. That dust hasn't taken away an ounce, an iota from the mirror. It's just covered over it, making it not so beautiful, not so visible. But you can clean that dust off the mirror. You know, several years ago when I went through this enlightenment, I made the Mental Cleanse series just for you guys. This is subconscious, spiritual, soul healing stuff. You go and it's subconscious healing, and you listen to it, and I walk you through things. You need to get rid of anger. Okay, we're going to bring that anger up. We're going to go back. We're going to find where it's from. We're going to heal it. We're going to bring yourself forward. And you're going to go through these things layer by layer by layer by layer. I was working on myself for years and years and years and years and years before I ever had the enlightenment. And then from then, there's still more work to be done because we are becoming masters. So if you're at the start of this journey and it's like, oh, I'm making it look easy, I'm just saying all you got to do is this and that, and I know it's hard. I know it takes effort, but because of the collective energies that we have here on the earth, it's becoming easier and easier and easier, and you're getting more and more content, more and more teachers that are going to give you the little thing that you needed to hear, that's going to change the thing, that's going to illuminate this area, that's going to be able to clear some more dust off that mirror. And the more that we clear off, the faster we evolve as a collective. Now, because we are unity, because we are one, if you could truly understand that and experience it and know it and feel it, and you could know that as I do this thing to this person over here, I'm actually doing it to myself. That is like you're one cell in your finger, and somebody else who you don't like is one cell over in your elbow. But because it's all part of one organism, do you really want to cause harm to that cell in your elbow when it's actually you? When you can recognize this and you can see, like, I don't want to cause harm to anybody else because they're actually just me, then a shift happens just like that. And then there's so many more things that will come up that you will recognize, that you will realize, that you'll be like, oh, I see, when this person suffers, I suffer. When this thing happens, this happens. And you'll start to make connections, and you'll get clues about things in your life and why they had to play out that way. Why things had to be the way that they were. And when you can understand that and you can become thankful for it, that thankfulness will allow you to hold the divine love in your heart. Because you will realize that when you believe in only the goodness, it will be all that you are witness to. And so by retaining that love in your heart in face of opposition, when something comes up and it's just like, oh, I could so easily not love what is going on here. Well, it will cause damage, and the more spiritually powerful you are, the more damage it'll cause to you, because you manifest things so much faster. You'll recognize it right away. This was just like the other day when I go to the Social Security office to go get something done, and it wasn't happening the way that I wanted it to happen. And it felt like, oh, I need to force this. I need to make this thing happen. Even though I know all the things, and so I don't know. I knew it. I knew it right then, too. I knew it at the moment that I was getting frustrated. Is I know this is happening for me. I know it's happening for me. But I still allowed, some moments of frustration when, why did I do that? I didn't need to do that. Sure, it only lasted for, a few minutes, half an hour, an hour. It was really annoying. But why did I allow that when I could have chose to just stay in my heavenly state and remain in love in the face of opposition? Because there really is no opposition. Because everything is working for us, and even the things that seemingly are opposing us are benefiting us in some way. Maybe there's something we need to learn from it. Maybe it's just that we need to learn to be thankful for everything. Maybe there's something else that we need to learn. Maybe we need to learn about boundaries. Maybe we need to, I don't know what it is that you need to learn about. Maybe you need more discipline. Whatever it is. When we can face those things in our life that look like they're daunting, or that look like this is not working out for me. Why is this thing not working out for me? When we can remain in love, we have mastered ourselves. And by mastering ourselves, we will master the entire universe. He who controls the spirit controls the entire universe. And because you are so powerful, when you get in your power, when you step into it fully, and it's going to happen for you, baby. If you're listening to this, just keep it up. It's going to happen for you. Keep cleansing away all those things that are not divine love. Every single one of them. Jealousy, spite, greed, all the things. Sadness, hurt, malice, resentment, all the things. Keep cleansing them away. And as you do this, you will get bursts of light, you will get bursts of insight, and you will know that you are on the right path. And then one day, when all the work is done and all the dust is cleared off that mirror, you're like, it was worth it. I knew it was worth it. That's why I kept doing it. And you will know that you know, and then you will be that spiritual healer, teacher, leader, and you will want to share that information, that knowledge that you have with everyone in the whole world, because you will see all the suffering in the people, and you will see that it is in every single person that you look at, and you will just want to show them, hey, there's a better way. Hey, there's a better way. You're suffering because this is in your mind. You need to gain control of your mind. Your consciousness is the be-all, end-all. It's the everything. And the only thing that really exists is divine love, but because you don't believe that, you are suffering. And when you can share this message with people, you will just understand, you will feel that pull. I need to get this message across because I cannot stand to see people suffering. This is one thing that I have noticed. Living where I live is seeing all the suffering and all the people. You go to the store and you're like, man, I don't think that there's one person in here that I'm not seeing it in. It is in every single person. And because it is in every single person, the world needs us now. The world needs the truth, it needs the light, it needs the love, because it is under heavy dust right now. And it needs the light. And you are that beacon of light. Remain in it, stay in it. Pray to the divine. When you do your meditation, set your meditation. Every night when I do a meditation, I go into ceremony and I set the intention of divine connection every single time. And I get it. And I will have things come through. And I mean, I'm doing it every day. But yet there will still be something that comes up every day that's showing me, oh no, there's still this little thing you need to master. Oh, there's still this little thing you need to master. Just like the other day when my music shut off and I was like, okay, well, we're not listening to music today. And had that little moment of attitude about it and then was shown. Why would you have that moment of attitude? This is for you. What a waste of energy that was. And I was like, oh, good point. That's right. Then the next day, go to the DMV. Oh, this thing isn't working, or this is wherever I was. This thing isn't working. Oh, the frustration was like, no. This is happening for you. Why would you even waste your time complaining? Why would you even plummet yourself into hell when it was completely unnecessary? Because of course, this is happening for you. And the thing that you wanted to go and visit some people, well, now you get to go and do that. This is happening for you. Everything is happening for you. But when you waste your time and your energy believing in the opposition, believing that it even exists, then you will put yourself into suffering unneedlessly. I have a lot of compassion for people who are going through hard times. I've been there. Like, I get it 100%. I know. But I gotta tell you, when there is suffering, there is excitement that is within me, because I know what it leads to when you make the right choices, when you choose and you make decisions to heal it, to heal the hurt and to heal the pain. The only goodness comes from it. I know even from this last year and all the things that I had to go through, that I was going through, putting myself in my own mental prison, and that I had to heal these things, and how much stronger I became and how much more I love myself now than I did a year ago. You know, I thought I did, but really I just love the divine. But when I realized, no, I really do love myself, healing came. Huge, massive healing came, but the only reason why it came was because I needed to heal it within me. So I had been suffering, I had been going through hurt and through pain, but that was what led to even more goodness. So if there is suffering or there is pain, this is why I'm saying there's a bit of excitement around it, not because I want to see anybody suffer, but because I know what's on the other side of it. If you choose it and if you decide, and when you choose that, then you're choosing to believe in that rather than the suffering, and so you will suffer much less. much less. I know when I first, a couple years ago, I would, be getting phone calls or texts or whatever from my ex, and he would just intentionally try to get me. And it would upset me. He did it twice, that it actually really upset me. And after the first time, and I was all so mad, I thought, no. I'm thankful. And that next day when I woke up, I was like, okay, I thought I was on cloud 9 before. Well, now I'm on cloud 81. Let's times it by 9. And as great as I had felt before, I felt even better because I had to overcome that. And so then when it happened again the next time, and this was all intentional things to try to upset me, which in the past would have for sure worked. But because now I had the awareness of, well, dang, last time this happened, I leveled up spiritually massively overnight. So that's exactly what's going to happen again this time. So I'm not even going to let it get me upset. No, I'm going to be immediately thankful for it. And I'm going to expect that tomorrow I'm going to feel 1,000,000 times better than I even have in the past. And because that was my expectation and that was my belief, that's what I got. So it was allowing me to master things in myself that in the past I would have got upset about, or this person, or I would have complained, or I wouldn't even tell anybody about any of the things that he was doing. I wouldn't share a word of that with anybody, because why would I do that? Then I'm creating more misery, or I'm looking for sympathy from somebody else, and that's not what I want. I don't need sympathy from this. No, I want to take that energy that was put at me and I want to grab it and I want to use it for my own spiritual development. And so that's what I did. So it doesn't matter what somebody throws at me. They want to throw something negative at me. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for this. I'm just going to take it. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to make it into divine love, and I'm just going to absorb that, and I'm just going to keep that. And I'm going to let it expand me, and I'm going to let it help me to grow even more. Spiritual growth. But it's all the mentality that you go in with it as. And so we can complain, and it's easy to complain, but there's no benefit in that. You don't get to grow from that. You then are remaining a victim, and that's not what it's about. What it's about is getting into divine alignment, because there will be no fulfillment that comes from anything other than that. You could have millions and millions and millions or billions of dollars, but if you do not have divine alignment, if you do not have your mind right, if you do not have control of your thinker, you will suffer. And it will bring suffering to you, and it will bring suffering in your environment and to people around you. You say, oh, with $1 billion, how could you not be happy? Well, I agree, because by the point, if I had it, is that going to make me happy? Well, it's not going to make me happy, but it's not going to take away my happiness. I'm already happy to begin with, so it's just going to be a thing that's there. When I was up in my cabin, and so, this place is heated by a wood fire stove, and in wintertime, there's no running water because, it's coming from the lake, and so you can't even use the sinks and stuff, and it's, it's primitive. It's not about the luxuries. But when I got into that enlightenment, and I was in the heightened state of the divine love, which now, comes through in every practice. When I was there, I realized there was nothing that I wanted. There was nothing that I needed. There was nothing that could come to my door that could make me feel any better than I already did. Somebody could have walked up and they could have given me $360 million, and I would have been like, sweet, thanks for coming. And I would have just shut the door and gone back and been by myself there with the divine. And it wouldn't have changed how I felt, because I could not have felt any better than I already did. And so when you get to that point where you don't need anything else, that's how you know. You're winning. That's how you know that you're winning. Because you then realize, I've had this, I've had that, I've had boats, I've had cars, I've had all the things, and none of those things brought me one moment of fulfillment that was lasting. The only thing that is lasting, that can bring you fulfillment, is divine alignment, is connection with the divine, and it is something that you work towards. And I say all you got to do is do this and do that, and maybe that sounds like, oh, that's, sounds easy but hard to do. You're right. It does take effort, and you do need to have a devoted spiritual practice. You need to do meditation regularly so that you're not just hearing what I'm telling you, but you're hearing it direct from the divine. Because then you know that you know. Because as long as you remain having somebody else tell you something, like had I just read and studied the Christ letters and thought, oh, this or oh, that, but never had my own personal experience with it, eventually it would have died away. Eventually it would have not been the thing. But because I had my spiritual practice with it, and so these things could be added to it, and I have this direct channel, this direct connection with the divine, as you do as well. And if you don't, you just need to practice. This is where you get your information from. And then you know that it's not just another person that's just telling you a thing, they're just telling you something. You're getting the legit facts from the divine source itself. And then you will know that you know. Which is why it is so important to do meditation, to have a spiritual practice, and to connect in regularly. This is like saying, oh, I want to have a relationship with you. It's the thing I want the most, but I'm not going to spend any of my time with you. What is that saying? Well, that's saying, no, you actually don't want that thing at all. Because if you did, you would give it your time, because you're saying it's something that you want. So we can't say, oh, I want to have such a close connection with the divine, but then give the divine none of our time. And how you give the divine your time is through meditation, it's through prayer, it's through sitting there and listening like, hey, divine, I'm just giving you this time. I've got 27 and a half minutes that I'm dedicating to you, and so this is what I want. 27 and a half minutes, I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to let you talk to me. And then you just sit there in silence and you just let the divine talk to you if the divine is going to connect. But this is how it happens. Because when you love something, you dedicate yourself to it. You commit yourself to that practice. All of these things, relationships, this and that, they are all just a metaphor. They are all just showing us the way to connect with the divine, because that's the ultimate. So what do you do when you are in a really loving relationship? Well, you provide the other person with food. Maybe one person pays for it and one person cooks. So what happens when you have a relationship with the divine? You need spiritual food. So look at your food as spiritual. This is all part of you. It's part of your body. When you consume your food, this is spiritual medicine. So when you look at your food on the plate, you can think about how freaking miraculous it is that you even have this food, that it came from a seed, that it produced all this or all that, or maybe it came from an animal, wherever it happened to come from. But what a miraculous wonder your food is. So then now you've added in this thankfulness, this mindfulness around the food that you're consuming. Well, what else happens? Well, you give time when you're in a relationship. So then you need to devote yourself some time. Set aside that time for your connection with the divine. What else? What are the other love languages? Gift giving. Okay, what gift can you give to the divine? So sometimes I will just take some salt, precious salt. I'll put it in my hand and I will put a blessing in it. And then I will go and I will sprinkle it on the earth and I will say, divine, thank you. This is my gift to you. Here's some expensive salt that I have put some good intention in, and this came from you, beautiful earth, and I want to return it back to you. And this is my only intention, is that I want to give to you. And so then you can take that and you can let that be a part of your spiritual practice. Touch. What is that other than just connection? Giving it your time. Sit there and put yourself in that embrace of the divine. Sit there in that beautiful, loving energy. When we take our spiritual practice seriously, and we are showing that we're taking it seriously by devoting ourselves to it, by giving our time to it, you will be rewarded. This is why the mentorship program that I do, spiritual mentorship, it's for a year. And the last 3 weeks of that, you go up into the wilderness up north. You're not living you're living in a place, but you get to devote 3 weeks of your time to your spiritual practice, to only that connection. You can paint, you can write, you can read, you can meditate, you can dance, you can do yoga, you can do whatever it is that you want to do that is within your spiritual practice. You can go connect with nature, you can go on walks. You can take that time to not be around your phone and to be around a clear energy that has no Wi-Fi, that has nothing like this. And you can take that time for yourself to show the divine, hey dude, this is the only thing I want. I'm dedicating the next 3 weeks of my life to only you. And as you do that, what are you doing? You are taking action. You are showing the universe, you are showing the divine, I want this so badly. This is what I want. I'm willing to give you all of my energy for the next 3 weeks. And that's nothing, right? If you were in a relationship and you're like, hey, I'm going to give you the next 3 weeks, and then nothing after that, what would that be? You know, that's not going to do anything for you. But it's a real nice kickstart if you meet somebody and you're like, all right, I'm going to dedicate my next 3 weeks to you. We're going to see what goes on here. And then you continue on from that point, because after that point, you're not going to want to separate from the divine. You're going to be like, nope, this is a priority. Screw 15 minutes. I'm doing it at 90 minutes a day minimum of connection with the divine, because I was so fulfilled in that, and I got so much information, and I got so much clarity, and I healed so many things within myself, and I've brought back my happiness and my joy and my laughter and fulfillment, and I just feel like I'm in bliss. And so as you dedicate yourself to the spirit, to the divine, you will get proof that what you were doing is the right thing. And especially when you ask for it and then you expect it. You're like, hey, divine, okay, I'm going to give you 32 minutes today, because that's what I have before I got to hop on my next Zoom call. I'm going to give you 32 minutes, and I want you to give me some proof at the end of this that that 32 minutes was absolutely worth it. And then give the 32 minutes, and then you will get the proof. Ask for it, and believe with no doubt that, of course, you're going to get it, and you will see it. It will materialize as quick as you need it to, as quick as you ask for it to, instantaneously if you want. It's all based on your level of belief, without any doubt. Anyways, this is what I got for you guys here today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You all are so wonderful. You guys are the best. Thanks for being here. I just feel so close to you guys. You guys are wonderful. Anywho, I will see you guys tomorrow. FYI, I'm going to be on the Transformation Network a couple days a month, starting right away here, starting this next week. So I'll post some links for that as well. You guys, take care.